What up, peeps? It's your boy Heckin Steve. Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk to you about Gears of War Reloaded. Now, this is the PC version of the game. I got this as a gift from Xbox, so thank you so much, Xbox, for the review copy here. Now, I do feel stupid for never playing Gears of War before, especially considering the fact that I own a lot of these games on Xbox 360. And, the only experience I've had with Gears of War in the past is I think I played maybe 5 minutes of online Gears of War 2 over at a friend's house way long ago, and I was probably buzzing off of some alcohol back then. So, yeah, I don't really remember much from it. But this game is pretty good. I mean, it has like an Xbox 360 feel to it, which is, that makes sense, right? Because it's an Xbox 360 game, just remastered for modern systems. And this is actually my gameplay that you're seeing here, and I played about an hour of it so far. Now, I've seen some other reviews saying that they're not too happy with the game because it's not much different than the Xbox One remaster. So I guess it's good for me because I've never played any of the Gears of War games, so it was good for me to come into this one with like a fresh and open mind. They did mention in their reviews, though, that the online will probably deter new players just because the veterans have been playing this game for a couple of decades now, and so they'll probably, beat the shit out of you. And me personally, I do not plan to play any of the multiplayer because I know I will get my ass handed to me, but I might co-op the rest of the campaign because I think that would be sweet. The gameplay is fun, though. It reminds me of Army of Two's gameplay. And it also reminded me a little bit of Resistance a little bit because of the enemy designs. At first I thought they were aliens, but they're actually genetically mutated humans from a planet called Sarah, and I believe they're also referred to as the Locust Horde. I reckon that was their way of separating this game from other shooters on Xbox, like Halo, for example. They didn't want it to be exactly aliens because we already had Halo. Now, like I said, this is the PC version of the game, and I played it with mouse and keyboard, and I struggled a bit with it because, in typical PC games, shift is your run button, but in this game, that is not the case. Shift actually pulls up your objectives, so they had me holding spacebar to run, but I imagine on a controller it's much better. The game was designed for the Xbox 360, so it was designed around that controller. And I could have played it with the controller. I mean, I have an Xbox controller in here, but I wanted to do it on mouse keyboard. It felt like the thing I wanted to do, so that's what happened. But I'm a big fan of the duck and cover type of shooter game. I don't always, want to run and gun taking bullets to the face. Sometimes I do, but it's nice to have a gunfight from time to time where you cover and, you shoot back and forth and stuff. It makes you feel like you're actually in some combat, you know what I mean? And I feel like there won't be a lot of new players digging this game, to be honest with you, unless they're a fan of that era of shooters like Army of Two, Resistance, Halo 3, Red Faction, Guerrilla. One thing, though, that I really didn't like is there's no physical release of the game on Xbox Series X, so you'd have to only get it digital. It's also on Game Pass, and it is a Play Anywhere title, which is nice. I mean, for example, like, I'm playing it on the PC here, but if I didn't have Game Pass, I could still, install and play it on the Xbox without needing to buy it twice. Well, I didn't buy it to begin with, but you know what I mean, right? So I suppose there are some plus sides to the digital version, but as a physical collector, it would have been nice to have it on the shelf. PlayStation 5 players did get a physical release, so there's no concern for them. It's just for me, I would rather play it on the Xbox since, it's an Xbox franchise. But I'm sure it runs, perfectly fine on the PS5. I did enjoy the reload timing mechanic, but I was struggling with it for a while. And I'm not really sure why, because, I've dealt with a similar mechanic like that in Star Wars Battlefront 2 before. But I guess, on their game, the reload mechanic is in the center of the screen, and it's a little bit bigger. This one is kind of small in comparison, and it's at like the top right of the screen. So, I guess that is a big difference there. And that might have been why I was struggling with it. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm curious to know what other newcomers to Gears of War think of the game. So if you're new to the franchise, be sure to drop a comment and let me know what you think. I wonder why this franchise hasn't been turned into a movie or TV show yet, because it feels like it would be amazing for that. But I also know that they've kind of screwed up the Halo TV show. So maybe it's a good idea that it hasn't been turned into a movie or TV show. But anyways, if I had to rate the game, even after only 1 hour of playing it at the time of making this video, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, which is, that's great. 8 out of 10 is a great review. And, I like the game a lot. I would look forward to finishing it and checking out Gears of War 2 and possibly Gears of War 3 and so forth. Those have always been the three that I've heard are the best. I can't really speak much about Gears of War 4 or 5. But I know a lot of people gave me hell for rating Donkey Kong Bonanza before finishing the game. And so it won't shock me if people give me hell for doing the same here with Gears of War, but I've played enough video games in my life to know what I think of it even after just an hour. I don't need to beat a game to rate it, just like I don't need to sleep with Violet Myers to know she's a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? But yeah, it looks like the campaign to the game is about 10 hours, so I'd say I'm about 10% through it. But even so, I know what to expect based on the type of game it is. I don't expect the story to blow me away by any means, but I do expect to have a lot of fun, a lot of mindless fun, shooting and blowing up things. But yeah, the boss level parts of the game that I've played so far were pretty cool, except for this part right here. I mean, this is where I pretty much stopped playing because it's like this big ass freaking guy, that you have to like aggro to yourself and make him run into a breakable window or door. And he just wouldn't aggro to me, man. He wanted to aggro to the bot, the AI Dom here. And he kept killing him. So that was frustrating. I tried it like 2 or 3 times and kept failing because he just kept killing the CPU. The CPU, for some reason, would just kind of stand there and let it happen. And I would try to shoot at him, but, the weapons don't work. So you have to, like, basically aggro him through these doors to get him outside so that you could use that Hammer of Dawn weapon, which is like a laser that shoots from, like, a satellite. Because that's really the only way you can kill him. Like, you can't damage him at all with regular weapons. And so that was pretty much where I stopped playing because I kept dying over and over again because of the stupid bot, which is another reason why I think I'm going to complete the game in co-op mode, because that wouldn't happen because I think your teammate would be playing Dom at that point, so you wouldn't have to worry about that shit happening. So yeah, that is pretty much all of my gameplay, my first impressions of Gears of War Reloaded. I enjoy the game. And I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially those on Xbox who can try it for, technically free on Game Pass. But yeah, I think what is it, like $40 on PlayStation 5? So, I mean, if you want to give it a shot, that's not too bad. But yeah, appreciate you guys so much for watching. I will catch you next time.